Serval? Did you see that weird? Lately?
Just don't worry about muting it. They're quiet. Okay. All right, 3.
Like last time.
Okay, tell me when you're ready for 5.
I have a feeling the switch is going to be really slow.
All right, 5, 4, 3, 2.
What's up, Clemson? The Extra Point starts right now. What's up, Clemson? Welcome back to another season of The Extra Point. We're so excited for this year. We've got all the regulars back. Today we've got Anderson, Matthew, and we're going to be talking about some college football first. Next week, we're talking about a little bit more NFL. And we're going to start out with Joey Bosa. He's going through a little bit of a money situation right now with the Chargers. So I'm going to send it over to the panel. What do you guys think about that situation?
Well, I think it's a very interesting situation that the league hasn't seen in quite a long time, or maybe even at all. I don't know what the record is for most amount of days held out by a rookie. But
Actually, you want me to? I'll jump in right now.
Okay,
It's,
sure.
he, just because I know, I just wrote this down. Quentin Jamar actually played for the Chargers back in 2002, and he held out for 50 days.
how many days has it been right now? Like
24.
20. Oh, only 24. Okay.
Halfway there.
Seems like a lot longer than that. Okay. Well, I got a stat here. 18 out of the top 24 18 out of 24 top 3 picks since 2012. They've had no money or even a little bit of money deferred. That's what this whole situation is about. It's about deferring some of Bosa's money to, I think, 2 or 3 years back, so it's not, I guess, guaranteed. It's a money thing. So I'm kind of on Bosa's side. I mean, the Chargers are just being unfair to him. I mean, it's a lot of money, granted, and even if he agreed to what they would pay him, it's still $25 million, I think, which is only behind Carson Wentz. But I mean, it's a pride thing. They're trying to cheap him and nickel and dime him. He's not going to take it. Obviously, he's held out for more than 3 weeks. So I mean, I'm on Bosa's side with this.
I'm going to be on the Chargers side on this because, like you said, they're giving him $25 million his rookie year. Now, I know the whole problem is deferring money, but you're getting $25 million anyways. So, I mean, I feel like that's a big deal. And he's getting more than every other rookie except for Carson Wentz. And Carson Wentz was number 1 overall, correct? 2?
2. Golf is 1, yeah.
My bad. He was number 2 overall.
It's the first week back. You got to knock the
I
Cowboys.
know.
Good.
Anyways, number 2 overall, and he's a quarterback, so I mean, obviously he's going to get paid a lot.
Right.
So I mean,
right.
if you're getting paid second most to a highly drafted rookie quarterback, then you can't really complain. And another thing I'm on the Chargers side for, he hasn't been to training camp or OTAs.
Yeah.
He hasn't been in 3 weeks. So
Because he's been holding out.
yeah, because he's holding out. So if he ever gets
Well, you can't legally play without being on a contract yet.
I know, but still, he hasn't practiced at all.
It's because he can't. He can't. Like, he's not under contract. He doesn't play for the team. See, the thing is, well, I don't know. I'm kind of like in between. I'm kind of torn here, but I'm more towards the Chargers side, or Bosa's side of it. Sorry. So
you're towards Bosa's side.
I'm more on Bosa's side than anything.
Okay.
I was thinking, Bosa's being unfair here, but I really looked into it. I don't see how Bosa's being unfair at all. So Article 7 of the new collective bargaining agreement from the NFLPA and the NFL restricts underpaying rookies, okay? So if you look at it, for the 3rd overall pick, Bosa's guaranteed should get $25 million, all right? And that's what he deserves. That's what he's going to get.
Mm-hmm.
$17 million in signing bonus. All right, so he's getting the $17 million signing bonus is getting deferred over 5 years. So he's getting 85% of it in year one, and then he's getting the other 15% trickled down the other 4 years in this 5-year deal. But that's not the only thing that's going on in this deal. I actually read into it a little bit more. What's actually happening is, as well, is they're putting in a clause that say if he gets cut within the 4 years, they do not have to pay him for that 5th year. So it's not just about the money, but it's about the contractual agreement for over 5 years. And the crazy thing, I even looked at even more, because I got interested even more, and I thought to myself, well, that's weird. They're not only deferring the money, but they're also putting in a special clause. That is that if this contract goes through, and if he accepts this contract, which I don't think he will, that will be the only 3rd-round pick to ever have a contract that has both deferring of the signing bonus and a special clause in it that cuts the contract short in case of et cetera, et cetera. All right. In this case, him being cut within the 4 years. So I am definitely on Bosa's side here now that I think about it. And what I'm even more concerned about is where's the NFL Players Association? Why aren't they stepping in? They see all this. Bosa will, if he signs his contract, he will have the worst contractual agreement for a 3rd overall pick ever in the NFL.
Yeah,
I mean,
if he gets injured, he tears if he messes up
exactly.
if he's like a Marcus Lattimore situation, he doesn't get to play
And
again.
I think the Chargers actually tweeted. Chargers wrote down their notes, and they tweeted the picture of the notes of the deal, basically publicly shaming Bosa, which isn't fair to Bosa. Bosa isn't doing that. We talked before the show. Yeah. He's not talking about it publicly, which is great. But then again, you let's go back in time. Eli, everybody knows what happened with Eli. Eli held out and was eventually signed and traded to the Giants. Damian Tomlinson was held out for 30 days, again with the Chargers, and then as I said earlier, Jameer held out 50 days with the Chargers. So this isn't a new thing for the Chargers.
The Chargers have a very good track record.
So do you see Bosa being there? You're talking about 4 to 5 years in his contract. Do you see him staying there that long, or are you thinking he might even be going in the next coming weeks?
If he chooses not to sign his rookie contract, he's eligible to go back into the draft, but he's not going to be the number 3rd.
That's what I saw.
He's going to get a label of being a bum, being a bad kid, if you will, which isn't fair to him at all. No. And he'll still be a 1st-round pick, no doubt, but he'll be maybe 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, somewhere in there. He will not be a top 3 pick, in my opinion. He's definitely worth a top 3 pick, but he won't be, which is just a shame for Joey Bosa. Which once again, where's the NFLPA? Why aren't they stepping in? They're letting a high prospect who could easily win NFL Rookie of the Year and maybe even give a run at the Defensive Player of the Year if all turns out. I don't know why NFLPA isn't stepping in, and I don't know why the Chargers are doing this to one of their arguably best players on the team.
Yeah, like Anderson said, he could go back into the draft, but he won't. He won't be a number 3 overall pick. It's just, I don't know. The Chargers have screwed this up pretty badly. I don't think they can ever come back from this. So, I don't know. Chargers being stupid here.
Yeah.
So changing gears into college football, we are 10 days away from Clemson Tigers football at Auburn, of course. So the top 25 officially just dropped about a week ago, and Clemson's coming in at number 2. So after you guys took a look at this top 25, who's kind of your overrated and underrated players you see for this season?
I have one underrated team that kind of stood out for me. That was let me double check where they were. It was Iowa. Iowa's 17, and they went 12-0 last year. They took Michigan State to the wire. Most of the players are coming back, including Desmond King, who could be one of the best defensive players in the country. So 17 below teams like Ole Miss and Tennessee and Houston. They're underrated.
Yeah, I mean, but they were overrated, and they finished 4th or 5th.
They finished 5th or 6th.
They were undefeated and finished 5th. That just shows you that they're not underrated at all. I mean, they're overrated, if anything.
Well, they were overrated last year.
It's the same team. It's the same team. Arguably, maybe a little bit better, but it's the same team. They're in a weak conference. They're going to have an easy strength of schedule.
But they're not the 17th best team. They're higher than that.
You think they're high? I don't know.
I feel like they're that low because they got destroyed by Stanford. I feel like that's why. They don't think they can actually
and it's the Big
play
Ten.
up.
It's the Big Ten. Nobody in college football gives love to Big Ten team unless it's Ohio State or Michigan for obviously good reason because the Big Ten is very, very top heavy. Ohio State, Michigan State, and then Iowa these last couple of years, Penn State a while back. But Wisconsin is up in a couple years ago, but other than that, they haven't been really that strong.
So you think some of these SEC teams are better than? You think Tennessee is better than Iowa?
Tennessee, I think, is going to surprise a lot of people. I know they're ranked number 9.
They're one of my overrated. They're one of my overrated, actually.
I think they're going to surprise. I think they're going to surprise a lot of people. I think they're going to surprise a lot of people. I don't think they're overrated or underrated. If anything, maybe I'll be on the overrated side with Tennessee, but I think they're going to surprise some people, especially you two, apparently.
Yeah.
Who's your underrated team?
Okay, I have 3 underrated teams actually. All right.
3 of them?
3. All right, let
Jesus.
me. I'm going to knock them out real quick. Don't
All
worry,
right.
this won't last long. These 3, I've heard all through the summer. I never got any of them. You got Michigan, Tennessee, Washington. Washington's the big surprise here. How did Washington make the top 25?
That's what I was wondering.
Are you doing underrated or overrated?
This is
right now?
overrated.
Oh.
Oh, okay, I got you. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So you're doing overrated. All right.
So-
I said underrated.
I was confused there. Go on, keep going.
Oh, you did overrated. Okay.
No, underrated. But it's okay. You do you. Knock the
going.
cobwebs off. It's the first week back.
Keep going. Keep going.
Anyways, Washington, they were 7-6 last year. Apparently, they're returning talent. Their quarterback's going to be really good.
Yes.
I just don't see it though. How are they 14?
7-6. I have no idea as well.
How are they 14 after a 7-6 season?
I get that, but you guys are just looking in the past a little bit too hard. Okay, so yeah, they were 7-6 last season, but that's a different team. Let's look at. I know we're talking NCAA here, but let's look at NFL. So the Cowboys had a bad year for Cowboys last year. I think they're going to be way better. I think they're going to win their division this year.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Okay, so why am I picking them to win their division if they didn't even come close last year?
Well, their division's not good.
Okay, well, neither is Washington. Washington's conference isn't all that good, and they returning some players. Players are getting stronger. Okay, it's not really fair to say, our team was like this last year, so we're going to be like this this year. It's a good predictor, but you can't just be like, oh my God, they were 7-6 last year. No way they're going to be they should be in the top 25.
So what do you think about Washington then?
I think they're all right. I don't think they're overrated, and I don't think they're underrated. I think they're going to surprise some people too.
So you think 14's a good spot for them?
I think 14's a good spot.
I feel like if they're ranked 20 through 25, I would be much better with it. But
Josh.
14, I feel like is way too
Josh,
high.
tell me about Tennessee. I heard that was in your top 3 too. So you think they're overrated?
Yeah, I think Tennessee's overrated. I don't really understand the hype behind Tennessee. I think it's just because they're in the SEC.
Oh, it's because they're in the SEC.
They're probably going to win the SEC East, but that's not really saying much because Florida's not going to do well this year. Georgia's got a new coach, so they might get 8 wins.
But from
Hey.
Alabama staff, Kirby Smart.
That's true.
And they got
but
Nick-
I mean,
they got Nick
one-year
Chubb back.
coaches usually don't automatically go to conference championships.
Correct, but I'm just saying the coaching staff needed a change, just like Tennessee. Ever since Tennessee, I'm losing.
Josh Dobbs?
Josh
quarterback?
Dobbs.
Yeah, Josh
yes,
Dobbs.
I was losing his name there for a second. I got to knock the Cowboys off too. When he took over 3 years ago, he's seen his wins go from 5 to 7 to 9. He's increased every year by 2 wins. Now, obviously, I don't expect them to get maybe 11 or 12 wins. I'm guessing they're probably going to get 10 wins. They'll probably go 10-3 or something like that. Right around there. But I don't expect them to be I don't expect them to be in the Final Four. I don't expect that at all.
No, definitely
But I think they're going to surprise some people. Be like, all right, this team actually is going to compete in the SEC from now on.
I feel like they would make the SEC championship, but that would be about it.
That's still impressive.
I mean, that's impressive.
Tennessee, yeah, that is
But the
impressive.
SEC East isn't really that impressive compared to the West.
Right, but that's how it's always been.
Yeah.
That's true. I'm
I
just
don't
saying, I just feel like they don't.
Who's your last team?
My last team,
Overrated.
Michigan.
Oh, Michigan's overrated?
I don't.
Okay.
I just don't get it. I don't get the Michigan hype. I really don't.
It's really the coach. I mean, I agree. I think they're a little overrated too. They're not my most overrated team, but I think it's just really the coach with Harbaugh. I think
Yeah.
he brings a huge. Well, first of all, their team was not supposed to be as good as what they were last year.
Oh, they
And they had a
overachieved.
couple-
They
fluke-
overachieved big time last year, and they had a couple fluke wins. So that
Fluke
kind of
losses too.
Well, fluke lost with Michigan State.
Yeah.
But Harbaugh coming back, Jabril Peppers is amazing. He can play. I mean, that dude's just an athlete.
Special teams.
Let's be honest.
Defense,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. I mean, I think Michigan's going to be good. I think they're going to be top 10. I think they'll probably finish around top 12 because I think they'll lose Ohio State in the last week, so they'll probably drop down. But Michigan's going to surprise. I don't know. I don't want to say surprise people because they surprised people last year, but they're going to be right around 8 to 12.
So the main reason I put Michigan down is because they got a first place vote.
They got a first place
They
vote.
got a single first place vote. That's what I thought was outrageous.
That is overrated.
If you put them number 10, fine, whatever.
Even
Sure.
4 or 5, I can kind of see.
But a first place vote?
That's ridiculous. Above Bama, above Clemson. Come on now.
Yeah, that's
Come on now.
I mean, they only got one. Yeah, I mean,
I
yeah.
forgot
I'm
about
saying.
that part, but I think they're justified at number 7. I think that's a good spot. But I mean, with that one vote, I mean, I'm not gonna say they're overrated. I think that vote's just stupid. Doesn't really mean anything.
All right. Now I'm gonna say my overrated team. You guys are gonna disagree with me. All right. And I can't wait to see hear this. All right. Oklahoma is my overrated team.
You think so?
Big time. Everybody's like, oh, Baker Mayfield, he's gonna be amazing. Yeah, but they lost their best receiver in Shepard.
Yeah.
All right.
P-Ron.
They lost 7 key offensive players and 7 key defensive players, including Dominic Alexander, their inside linebacker, and then Zach Sanchez, their star cornerback. All right, so their defense. What?
I said he went to the Panthers.
Okay, I hate you. All right, so they're losing a lot defensively. Their offense is going to be good. Don't get me wrong. Baker Mayfield's going to be a stud. He's going to be Heisman finalist, Heisman candidate the whole entire year. Oklahoma Sooners are going to be top 10 team, but they're not number 3, and that's why they're overrated to me. They're not number 3. If I were to do it, and I'm not an expert by any means, but I would put them 8, 9, 10 somewhere in there. I think they're
Definitely not an expert.
definitely not an expert. That's why I'm in college. That's why I'm on here. You know.
I feel like Oklahoma definitely doesn't deserve number 3, but they're probably going to win the Big 12. The only team I could see stopping them is TCU because Baylor had all those offseason issues, which I'm not even going to get into.
Right.
But
that's a whole show.
But yeah.
I guess that's
but
also
I mean,
back, though.
TCU is probably the only team I can see beating Oklahoma.
See, but that's. I'm glad
that's-
you brought that up. No. I'm glad you brought that up. Okay, so I'm gonna go run through their schedule for you. Okay,
All
this
right.
is another reason why I think they're overrated. Okay, so because they're not gonna finish third, guarantee that. Week number 1, number 15 Houston. Week number
It's gonna be a good game.
Week number 3, number 6 Ohio State. They're not winning that game. Okay.
I didn't know that. I didn't know they played Ohio State.
Yeah, Ohio State is gonna be tough this year, even though people are counting them out. All right.
Is that home or away?
That is. I should away. No, that's home for Oklahoma. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
And then week 4, right after Ohio State game, is TCU at TCU. And then next week in 5, they got Texas, which isn't that good of a team, but Texas has surprised.
Texas surprised them last year.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Kansas State University's in 6. Okay, that's another team that's like not the tough, but if you don't come to play, they will beat you.
Is that at Kansas State?
No, that's at Oklahoma. And then you got Baylor, who's ranked 23rd, and then West Virginia University, which is a very scrappy team always, and that's for every single sport it seems like they play. You know, obviously, once again, not the best team, but a team that can beat you.
Yeah.
And then they finish the season with 21st Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
They got a tough schedule.
Oklahoma State's probably going to be ranked higher.
They got a tough schedule. I mean, looking at this, they could lose 4 games easily. Houston,
they could.
Ohio State, TCU, Baylor, or Oklahoma State. You know, so Oklahoma, I think, is overrated strictly because what they lost defensively, the fact that they lost arguably their best offensive threat that's not Baker Mayfield, and then the strength of schedule is just ridiculous.
I just feel like the Big 12 is going to be left out of the playoffs this year.
Big time. I think
Big
TCU is kind of overrated. I think Baylor isn't going to do much. Oklahoma State never really seems to get enough done.
Just when you look at the conference right now, it just does not look like it doesn't look like any of the teams would do well against the big teams of other conferences.
I 100% agree. Big 12 is like the ugly stepchild of college football, you know?
What do you guys think of USC cracking the top 25 this year? Are they back?
Southern Cal?
Southern Cal.
See,
They're always in the
They're
top 25.
always in there, and they never perform. No.
And see, I don't know. I think this year, once again, I think they have a chance to surprise some people.
They'll probably stay in the top 25,
I've heard
but I
that
don't
for
think
like the
they'll.
last
I don't
5
think they'll
years.
make like top 10.
No, they won't make top 10, but I think they'll stay in the top 25 for sure.
Andy, I want to know your 4th Final Four pick because I already know 3 of them.
All right, who are my 3? I want to see.
Okay,
this.
your 3 are for sure Alabama, Clemson, and Ohio State. And there's one more, and I want to know what the 4th one is.
See, you're wrong.
Really?
You're wrong. All right, I have Alabama getting upset this year. All right, I think Bama's the best team going into this year, just what they're returning. Obviously, the whole entire program history and everything, and
One of
they're
the best, or the top recruiting class as well.
right. But what they're returning, especially, is just insane. I was looking at their team today. I'm like, wow, they're going to be good. All right, I think they will lose, and guess what team I'm thinking they're going to lose to?
Gonna be Ole Miss again.
Nope.
Tennessee?
Nope. Horace, you got any idea?
One loss
USC.
will not keep them out of the playoff.
It will if it's to this team.
Auburn?
Nope.
LSU?
There you go.
There we go.
I think it's going to be LSU. I think LSU is going to surprise a lot of people. They are my underrated team, and they're ranked 5th. All right, I think they're going to be in the top 4, and here's why. Leonard Fournette, number 1. Okay?
You're telling me LSU's underrated. I'm not sure if that counts
At
as
5.
At 5,
At 5.
which shows that I value them in the top 4. So there you go. There's actually 3 of my 4. There's 3 of my 4 right there. I know you wanted my complete 4, but I don't know. Florida State, I think, could give a run, but I don't think they're going to be able to get in if obviously if Clemson beats them. I honestly don't know who that 4th team will be. Maybe there's 2 SEC teams there, but I doubt there's going to be 2 SEC East.
What do you think about a
or
Pac-12
West
team?
teams? Pac-12 team. Stanford could. I
Yeah,
think Stanford could get it.
Stanford has a good chance. They always do. The only problem they have is getting over Oregon. Because I mean,
Oregon is
no
just-
matter what you think about Oregon this year, they always give Stanford trouble. Those two teams always give each other trouble.
Right.
They always do.
All right, but just real quick, because I'll let you guys do your underrated and then your overrated. I'm just going to clarify my LSU, just kind of bolster that argument because a lot of people are probably like, this guy's an idiot. All right, they're returning 9 out of the 11 offensive starters and 9 of the 11 defensive starters, including, let's see here, Alexander, their offensive tackle, and then Gerald Hawkins. Or the only two people that they're losing is Alexander, their offensive tackle, and then Hawkins, Hawking, who's going to the NFL on the offensive tackle. That's the only two guys that they're losing offensively. And then defensively, they're not losing any starters. So honestly, you look at this team and they could be very good. I think Leonard Fournette's going to have another great year. I think he's going to rush 100 yards every single game. I think he's going to do it this year. And they have an average schedule. Their hardest team is going to be Alabama. That's literally it. They got Ole Miss, but I think Ole Miss is going to be overrated.
Ole Miss is always overrated.
They're always overrated, and they lost their best offensive threat. I think Chad Kelly's not going to have nearly as good of a season. Everybody thinks Chad Kelly is going to have this awesome season. I don't see it.
Andy, wait. So I don't mean to all the way go back to this point, but you said a one-loss Alabama team will not make it. You're telling me if number 5 LSU beats Alabama, Alabama will not make the playoffs?
No, I said, well, typically one loss kind of gets you out of this now. Maybe one loss will get you in there. And I said, if anything, if any one-loss team's going to be in, it's going to be an SEC West team. It's probably going to be Alabama or LSU, depending if they have one loss. But I'm saying LSU, I think, will get in there above Alabama. Now, I'm not really confident in this prediction because it's Bama that we're talking about.
Yeah.
But I think LSU this is going to be their year. I think they're primed and they're ready to go. But yeah, I think Bama will get in with one loss if it comes down to it. If there's no other team, like if Stanford has one loss.
There's no undefeated Pac-12. There's no undefeated
Right.
Big 12.
If there's nothing, all else equal, there's nothing else, then
If
it's
Notre
going to go
Dame,
to
undefeated Notre Dame has to go undefeated to make playoffs, pretty much, because they don't have a conference.
They have to.
Yeah.
They have to. Florida
So-
State's not going to go undefeated. Either Florida State or Clemson's not going to go undefeated.
Yeah, one of those two is out.
So yeah, I don't know. Clemson might. That's the only team that outside the SEC that I think might get in, and that's not me being biased because I go here. I think Clemson just has the team and has the hype around them, has the voters that would be willing to be like, I want them in the Final Four.
I don't think Clemson's schedule supports that.
Yeah, I was about to say
That's the one thing that holds it back. Our schedule is ridiculous.
Because compared to last year, our schedule is weak.
Very
this year.
much so. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Watch out for Louisville, though. That's my underrated team.
I mean, you always got to watch out for Louisville, but that's going to be a home game, so I'm not really that worried about it. Because, Louisville never does well. The past 2 times they played in Death Valley, it didn't end well. So
The only 2 games I'm worried about are Florida State and actually Auburn. I'm a little worried about Auburn.
I'm worried about Georgia Tech.
What about NC State?
I'm not worried about NC State.
NC State,
Home?
they
No way.
Yeah.
No way. No way. I think we're going to
Maybe
win
okay.
out.
I'm worried about Georgia Tech because we have not won in Atlanta since 2003.
Georgia Tech always gives us some fits. I thought Georgia Tech was going to be our hardest game last year.
It was supposed to be. It
was supposed to be,
up
yeah,
there,
and
then
we
they
crushed
turned
them. I just think Florida State is going to give us some troubles, obviously. But home schedule-wise, we haven't lost a home game since what? Florida State in 2013?
Yeah, that terrible game. Yeah.
We had the game that should not be named. But yeah, I think Clemson could get in with one loss. And if that one loss is to Florida State by a margin less than 5,
Like the Notre Dame game, one of those games, then I think they can still go.
yeah, for sure.
I feel like the problem with that, though, is because if Clemson loses to Florida State, do you have Florida State making the playoffs?
If they win out,
See, I think they're going to pull because the playoff committee is very into conference champion. So I feel like if we lose to Florida State, we won't make the ACC championship game. So they're probably going to be like, oh, they didn't even make their.
unless Florida State loses twice.
Yeah, Florida State would have to lose twice for us to get into the ACC championship.
Right.
What
So-
about UNC?
I don't know. I think, honestly,
I
I
think
think
they're a little
they're.
underrated at 22 right now.
I don't think they're underrated. I think they're exactly where they should be. I mean, they showed that they're a good team in the ACC conference. They gave us a little trouble.
If they can prove that they're better than 22, then I'm perfectly okay with that.
They won't
I,
go.
I feel like that's a good place for them. They're not overhyped. They're not going to get. It's not all going to get into their head.
I think they can move up a little bit, like 4 or 5 spots.
See, the players probably think they need to do that too.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I think that the peak that they'll go, if they win out, they'll be maybe 10th or 9th because their schedule I don't think is that tough.
I
We
haven't
don't-
looked at their schedule, but
If they
it
win
might
out,
have to
Andy,
be
they're
hard
going to the
knock.
national championship. That means they would win out and then win the ACC championship against Clemson.
No, I'm saying regular
Florida
season. I'm
State.
saying regular season. Just talking regular season if they win out. Yeah. Because I said they don't play Clemson in the regular season. That's true. I should have clarified. That's my fault. But yeah, there we go.
all right, Matthew. Since I ruined the order, Give us your overrated team.
Oh, I think I already talked about them. Tennessee and Washington. I mean,
Yeah.
like I said before, Tennessee. People are always saying, "Oh, this is their year. They could do something." I don't see it. I think it's SEC hype. And then Washington. I guess my stance has changed a little bit because of that Cowboys argument, but I honestly don't know a lot about Washington, so maybe they're justified there. I still think it's weird. Washington just coming out of nowhere being 14. I think.
See, I'm looking at his rankings right here. You got 12-2 Stanford, 9-4 Tennessee, 10-3 Notre Dame. Then you got 12-2 Michigan State, and then all of a sudden you got 7-6 Washington.
Yeah.
Once again, as last year, they had a decent recruiting class.
Well,
if I remember correctly.
preseason rankings are always a combination of last year and their recruiting.
Right?
It's always a combination of that. I don't
Right.
know where the last year came in for Washington.
Right. I mean, but then again, they're a young team.
I heard they were returning a lot of people.
Yes.
If they surprise me, I'll be happily surprised.
I'm not saying they're going to be in the top 10, but I think they're right where they're going to probably end up. They'll probably lose 2 or 3 games this year, I'm guessing. All right, Horace.
So today, being August 24th, is Mamba Day. So it's only right that you guys give a little few words about kind of his legacy, where you see him, kind of an all-time NBA history. Talk to me about that.
If we're talking fame, the Mamba is probably the second most famous NBA player behind Michael Jordan. But if we're talking about stats, and I love to talk stats,
A little too much. Yeah.
a little too. I don't know. I don't get that. I don't get that argument, Matthew.
Stats aren't everything, though.
Stats are 99% of the things.
There's intangibles.
Wait, so the things that decide if you play good or bad, those don't mean anything.
There's some
But
hidden
did you
stats.
win with confidence? Did you lose with confidence? Okay, well, he's okay. That kind of outweighs the fact that he had 10 turnovers and didn't score a single point.
I think you're like the Houston Rockets GM person. I'm more like Charles Barkley. I don't like him as much. You like him a lot, so.
You're Charles Barkley, the guy. The only reason why he's paid and has a job on TNT is because he was good at basketball. That's the only reason. Like the dude, I can't stand listening to the dude.
I like listening to him.
It's because it's comical. Okay, because it's funny, which is why I like listening to you. I'm joking.
That was a good one.
Anywho, but you got to talk stats when you're looking at a player's career, and then you're evaluating how good they played. You got to look at stats. I mean, Kobe finished with 5 rings, but he only twice out of the 5 times was. Geez, I need to slow down and talk. All right, 2 out of the 5 times he was the best player on the team. That's it. Shaq was the other.
You mean Finals MVP?
Well, that too, but he was the best player on the team. Taking away Finals MVPs, putting them aside, Kobe was the best player on his team twice out of 5 years. Okay, Michael was the best every single year. Bill Russell was the best every single year. So if we're looking at all-time ranking, I put Kobe around 9 or 10, which is very low. People are just like, he's top 5, no doubt. But how? Okay, yeah, he's 3rd overall in scoring, but so is Karl Malone. Are you gonna put Karl Malone in the top 5? He's 2nd.
Well, obviously no, because he has no championships.
Okay, but I'm just saying, you're going on scoring. So he's got 5 championships, which puts him above it. But if you look at anything else, he's 29th in assists, in total assists, but he's not in the top 30 in anything else. He's not in the top 30 in field goal percentage, anything. Okay, which kind of should hold some weight to you. Okay, all he did is score. That's awesome. That's what you need to do. That's what that's what his team needed him to do, and everything like that. But at the end of the day, he was only MVP 1 time. He was 2-time Finals MVP, and that's because the only other player on his teams were Pau Gasol, Lamar Odom. I mean, not guys that ever going to give him a run at that. He took those teams to the finals and he won those finals. Yeah, great job. Those are 2 legitimate finals. But he had Shaq, who was arguably the best player of all time, in my opinion. Granted, he was 7-2. But other than Shaq, he didn't have, or he was. I'm gonna restart that one again. Jesus. Shaq won them those finals, those first 3 finals. Shaq won them those finals. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Is that Kobe, very good player, but he had great teammates his whole entire way. And you could say, well, Michael Jordan too, but Michael Jordan didn't have a top 5 teammate on his team like Kobe did for 3 years.
Okay.
Or 3 championships, I should say.
So you want me to go next then, I guess? All right.
Up to you.
Yeah,
I was kind of looking and talking to you the whole time. I'm sorry, but
Yeah, I mean, I had him behind obviously Jordan, Kareem, Magic, Bird, and then I had him tied at 5th with him and Duncan, because I honestly couldn't decipher which one was better, Kobe or Duncan.
really.
I honestly don't know. They both have 5 championships. They both played about 20 years. Both are the best players.
Duncan was the best player on his team, all 5 championships.
Yeah, but Kobe.
Outside of his first one with David Robertson, maybe.
Yeah.
But Robertson was old. I'd still give that to Duncan because Robertson was old towards
Well,
the
this
end
is
of
where
his career.
stats aren't as effective. I mean, Kobe had that intangible. He had that killer mentality. If you needed a game to be won, he would win it for you. I mean, it's I mean, stats will show you that sometimes. I mean, the field goal percentage and stuff like that may bring him down a little bit. But, I mean, if you needed a game to be won, give the ball to Kobe.
If you looked at stats, I don't have the exact stats off the top of my head, so I'm not going to rattle off numbers acting like I know something I don't. But I've seen these stats before. If you were to say who's more clutch compared to stats-wise, what will stats say? Who's more clutch, LeBron or Kobe? Who would you say?
I know the stats favor LeBron.
They favor LeBron. I'm just saying, and I know we're not talking about LeBron right now, but I'm just saying everybody hypes up Kobe because he's hit a couple big shots. But yeah, he's missed a lot of shots too. And then everybody rags on LeBron for missing a bunch of shots, but he's made a lot of big shots too. It's just the two different players. Kobe played for LA. LeBron was a villain. Kobe was never really a villain per se, because he was always with LA. He was just like, I want to be you type thing. Everybody hated LeBron because he thought that LeBron had the easy way out, which in reality wasn't even the case. He went to a worse team both times.
Well, not worse when they all just worse. Well, he went there knowing Bosch was joining him too.
Okay, but he
which
went
made
to a
it
worse
better
team.
than the Cleveland team.
Right, but he went to a worse team. I mean, he went to the best. He went from the best team in the Eastern Finals to. We're not talking about LeBron. Okay, we're not talking about LeBron. We're getting off topic.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, look at the stats, dude. You can't say stats aren't everything because they are 99% of the things. I'll give you 1% for intangibles. Yeah, he had a killer instinct, but so does every NBA player that ever plays the game. You telling me
Every player has a
You
killer
tell me
instinct?
Duncan didn't have a killer instinct? You telling me that Karl Malone didn't have a killer instinct?
Everybody has somewhat of a killer instinct. but
Every
not like
NBA
Kobe.
star
Not like
has
Kobe,
a killer
though.
instinct. That's not fair to say. LeBron has probably just as much of a killer instinct. LeBron in his age 31st or 30th season just went 41-41 triple-double in the last 3 games of the series to come back down 3-1 to arguably the best team of all time. You tell me that's not killer instinct?
I'm not saying it isn't.
Okay, but people don't talk about LeBron's instinct. Everybody's just like Kobe has a killer instinct.
No, people say
he's
that
the
LeBron
Mamba.
is often passive and he needs to sometimes turn on his killer instinct, and when he does,
And he does. He
comes
knows
back
when
from
to.
3-1 deficits. Yeah.
His killer instinct's always there. He's just trying to get everybody else involved.
That's gonna be the name of this episode. This would be season 3, Killer Instinct, episode 1. Josh, what do you got?
I'll put him about 8, honestly.
Put him in the middle of us.
Yeah, gonna be the
Lead in the
middle man here.
Okay.
I got stats here, like 18 All-Star games. That doesn't really matter, though,
Yeah.
because, I mean, anybody gets in the All-Star game, basically. 15 All-NBA teams. That's pretty impressive.
All selections, yeah. It's
Yeah.
very-
15 All-Defense, which I'm a big defense guy. So, I mean, if you can play defense, I'm already your fan. I mean, he's not better than Tim Duncan, though.
He's not.
No.
Also, Tim
not on
Duncan has
defense.
two regular season MVPs compared to Kobe's 1.
Yeah, well, MVPs, that's tentative, though. I mean,
Yeah, the best player in the league. It's
I
kind
mean,
of
you
shaky.
could argue that Michael Jordan should have won the MVP every single season that he played, besides the Washington years, but he didn't. He went to other players.
Because they had better years than he did.
I don't know. Like Shaq should have won the MVP that one year, but Nash won it. I mean, it's not. They're definitely the best player that year. I mean, Kobe could have finished second that year in MVP voting. I mean, it's still a great accomplishment. It's not like he wasn't a great player that year. Wasn't
Okay.
a top 3 player that year. He
But
could
I'm
have
saying the
finished
fact that they won the award, that they were the best player, that experts picked them.
second. Well,
and
the,
said that
the
they were the
experts
best
can
player.
be wrong though.
I mean, a lot. It's not just 2 experts picking them. It's a lot of experts picking them. Just
So you think Kobe only deserved 1 MVP? You don't think he deserved more than 1 MVP?
name me another season that he should have had another MVP. There might be one other season that I'm overlooking that he had like 28 points in. But see, the thing, he had 28 points. He averages 3 assists, 3 rebounds. That's it. Like the dude, all he did is score. He's a 2-time scoring champ. Okay, congratulations.
He averaged more than 3 and 3 in terms of assists and rebounding, didn't he?
Career?
No, I'm talking like a season. Like I thought he was in like the 5 and 6. I don't have stats in front of me, like 5 and 6.
Or he was like 4 and 4, I think.
4 and 4.
Something like that.
Okay.
It wasn't that much. The
I
reason
still-
why
I
I
still
said, the
think
reason
it
why I
is-
said 3 and 3, to be honest, is because that's Bradley Beal's. We're talking about him next. That's his. I looked
I
at
got
his
you.
stats. But still, it's
No.
just the fact is, Kobe did one thing, okay, and yeah, he played defense a little bit, but he selected
He was
the
on 12 all-defensive teams.
Yes, because
What do
he
you mean?
got a lot of steals compared to his other team. Because Derek Fisher was a great defensive player. He benefited. Okay, me back in high school.
Hey, that's
listen.
where-
Me
that's
back
where-
in high school, I was never the best defensive player, but I had the best on-ball defender in our whole entire
That's where
conference.
stats don't do you justice because stats don't always pick all that stuff up though.
Right, that's exactly right. But the stats show you. The stats give you the example. And steals is only one defensive category. You got to look at the advanced stats. Okay. Okay. Wait, did you disagree with me? I'm confused.
No, like advanced, like
What
what, like what advanced stats in terms of like go beyond steals.
Dude, defensive win shares, defensive wins above replacement, all that stuff. You go down the list of advanced stats in defense, and you'll see it.
I'm just saying 12 all defensive.
Right, and I'm not taking that away from him. I just don't. If you go back to his years, he was not that good of a defensive player.
Well, I also remember an argument we had last year was, what was it, Phil Jackson against Popovich?
And Popovich is a better coach. I'll say that to the
No,
day
I'm
I die.
not saying, I'm not bringing that, I'm not
I'll say that to
disputing
the
one or
day
the
I
other.
die.
I'm just saying, one. I think it was Phil Jackson only won one Coach of
Yeah,
the Year award.
because I can't say it after I die. So.
I think was it Phil Jackson only won one Coach of the Year award? Was that Popovich? I don't remember. One of them only won one Coach of the Year, even though they should have won it.
Pop's won more than that. Phil's won more than that too.
Really?
I'm saying Phil won 11. And this is a completely different. I think I see where you're going. This is a completely different argument. Phil won 11 championships. Pop's only won 5. And I'm not sure if you're saying that's a stat, because that's not a stat. That's an award. But what I'm saying is Pop's done more with less. Okay, Phil Jackson had arguably 3 of the top 10 players on his roster. Obviously not at the same time.
No, actually,
but
no.
he had Michael Jordan, which is the GOAT, and then he had Shaq and Kobe.
I think I just remembered I was actually talking about Kobe last year when I was. Never mind. I
All right,
confused
guys,
myself.
we're wrapping it up right there. So that's all we got time for today. Wednesday is 8 o'clock. The Extra Point is back. And hey, next week we're going to have a full panel. That trophy that's on the
we didn't get
table,
to
it's
talk
on the
about
line. The
that.
games are coming back. So we'll see you then. See you next week, and thanks for tuning in.